What do you believe about that little boy?
He's a pain in the fucking arse.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the honesty. Their narrative about you became your narrative about him. But the truth is, he was a little boy that lost his mum.
Effectively downtrodden that inner child in me for a long time, bullied him in a way. I had a really big realisation this morning that they got it wrong, not me. That has a massive shift in how I see myself. I think it could be one of them days where your life changes.
Before the episode starts, I just wanted to say that what you're about to watch is real therapy. Sessions have been edited down, but everything you are seeing is raw and unscripted. Please be aware that at times there is strong language and there are themes of trauma and suicide throughout. This is episode 2. If you haven't watched the first episode yet, go back and do that first. Last time, we met Paul, a 60-year-old father who 6 months ago lost his daughter to suicide. The event has left Paul feeling broken and has also uncovered deeply buried grief from when he lost his mother at age 3.
My own kid and this to do with it at the same time, and it's fucking hard. You know, it's hard dealing with just one fucking thing.
We learned that Paul has locked all of his emotions in a box since he was a child, and that to process them, he needs to get in contact with a little boy inside of him.
I don't think he's the problem.
Cheers. Go on.
I think you're the problem. One of the things that we talked a bit about last time was your relationship to that little boy within you. Wow. And your relationship to your feelings and emotions, and the way that you learned to survive as a little boy was just to numb and to shut it down. And, you know, we talked about how he's not the problem. Your rejecting of him is the problem. And I know that landed with you. And I'm curious as to, I'm sure you've thought about that. And I'm curious as to what's come from your reflections.
There was sadness, loneliness. I was very lonely because I shut myself off. I completely shut myself off. I do remember.
When you were 3, you mean?
I don't know. I think it was a bit older than that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it may have been 4 or 5.
Okay.
But I do remember getting presents and hiding under the dining room table in the corner, because the table was pushed in the corner when no one was using it and used to get dragged out when everyone come round. And I'd literally play under the table on my own and hide, you know, and I isolated myself from everything. Even when people were trying to give me comfort, I would push them away.
Why do you think you did that?
I suppose because I didn't want to feel. Didn't want to feel the emotions. As I said to you before, opening Pandora's box. That's what it was all. I was learning to lock it away all them years ago.
What do you believe about that little boy? And I know that you know that he's important. We've had some, but historically, what's been the narrative that you've told yourself about him?
He's a pain in the fucking arse.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, it was a pain in the arse.
Yeah, and why? Why is he a pain in the arse?
Because he's fucking like forever. He's forever attention seeking. He's like, oh, it's a fucking change the record. For goodness sake, it happened like years ago. What's your fucking problem?
Right.
You know, we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, ate the sandwich, got the book, written the book. Come on.
So he's attention seeking.
Yeah.
He's needy.
Yeah, fucking right, yeah.
He's complaining.
It's like he's a bitch.
He's weak.
Yeah.
He's a bitch.
Yeah, he's a bitch, a little bitch. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't want him around. I just don't. He's been locked under that table. Like, he's been under that table for a long time.
Yeah, 57 years.
Fuck, I just realised something. What happened if I let him out of the table?
What do you fear would happen?
I don't know. I have no fucking idea what would happen. There's a smile coming up my face as if to say, well, this
You're
will be
quite curious
interesting.
to find out.
Yeah, I'm very curious. This will be interesting. It's like he's been stuck. Fuck. I've just let him out the table and I've just let him wander over and sit inside me. So he's sitting inside me now.
Okay.
Right now.
So what's there? Like right now, if you just give space to your body and to him and to how you feel, what's there?
It doesn't make any sense, but it feels grown up. I don't know why it feels grown up.
Say more.
It's like a coming together of two halves that have been separated, and we can work together with this. This is, mutual respect, consideration.
Okay.
There's consideration. It's like a curious consideration. Okay, so how will this work? So it's questions. It's more than anything. It's questions.
Your historical relationship to him, and you were using words like, he's in irritation, he's annoying, he's needy, he's
a bitch.
A bitch. And my suggestion is that he was a needy, upset, devastated little boy, but your father had his own grief. And your stepmom hadn't lost anyone, so she wasn't going through it. There's just there's this angry, irritable, upset, needy child playing under the table, and it's not to excuse people's behaviour, but their narrative about you became your narrative about him. But the truth is, he was a little boy that lost his mum.
Yeah, he was.
And he was upset, and he was angry, and he was defensive.
And now I can relate to him because I lost my kid.
Right.
I know what he feels like.
Right.
And this is worse.
I think the pain of losing his mum was overwhelming, but what made it so traumatic was that he felt alone in his pain.
Yeah. No one understood him.
And he wasn't allowed to have his pain.
He couldn't grieve for her because he was too young at the time. When he was old enough, he wasn't allowed to grieve. So he never got to grieve for her. That's why it's so hard now. Because
you're grieving your mother and your daughter at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry, Ben.
I don't even apologise. I want you to recognise that it's these moments where the feelings are there. This is the work. The understanding of it and the making sense of it is helpful, but the actual work is letting your body, your emotional body, do what it knows how to do. The issue has been you holding on and you blocking that, as opposed to letting the wisdom of your emotional body heal. So your job in working with this is to give yourself permission. Not to try and force it, not to try and control it, not to try and fix it, but to give yourself permission to feel how you feel.
So it's a day after the second session, and I can say I've felt a real shift inside me. There's excuse me. I feel a lot more peaceful and calm. And it's sad, really, that I'd effectively downtrodden that little inner child in me for a long time and bullied him in a way. That's how it felt. Never let him feel and heal. That seems to be different today, and I feel very optimistic. So, good day today. Interesting things have cropped up. That integration of that young lad, and homework was interesting.
Yeah, so the homework was looking at the ways that you've learned to not feel your feelings. So I'm curious as to what you identified.
The obvious one was distraction.
Yes.
Regularly distracting. And it goes back to school and stuff like that. I can remember doing that at school and causing distractions and deliberately getting sent out of class. And so I'd find myself not understanding something and bang, there's a little switch in my head. And
Paul explains that having undiagnosed dyslexia as a child made him feel weak and stupid as a result of how adults related to him. Not only has this had a big influence on how he relates to himself to this very day, it's also been the source of much anger and resentment.
So there's a place in you that feels delicate, and the response to that is to shut down and switch off. What would happen if you didn't shut down or switch off, and you were just to give a little bit of space to the feeling?
I'm getting angry.
Okay. What does the anger feel like?
Little kid in the corner.
Yeah.
So it just sounds stupid, right? Just wants his mummy.
Yeah. He's a 5 or 6 year old boy that 2 or 3 years ago lost his mum, and he's struggling he's struggling with some learning challenges, and people are misunderstanding him. And what he needs, not what he wants, what he needs is his mum to hold him and tell him that she loves him as he is. And it sounds like he didn't get that, or you didn't get that.
It's funny, I'm looking back at it now thinking, wow, if I had have had some a better coping mechanism at the time, then I could have lived up to the potential as a kid and then not felt so stupid as an adult. Because everyone's smarter than me, got qualifications on the wall, or, they were. I wanted to matter as a child, so I didn't feel I mattered. It's a bit stupid, really, I suppose.
Well, hang on a second. I'll pull you up on that.
All right, okay.
Is it stupid for a child to want to matter?
I sometimes have a problem looking back, thinking, like you're 60 now, for fuck's sake. This should have been dealt with. And
well, let me introduce you to another part of your psyche, Paul. That's what we call your inner critic,
right?
And that's the voice that we all have. That voice,
yeah.
And that's the voice which is constantly picking on us, judging us, telling us off, and really judging our value as a human being by meeting a hidden set of guidelines and principles of how we should or shouldn't be. And what often happens is when we start to become a bit more open and a bit more vulnerable, our inner critic beats up on us to try and put things back the way they were before. And that's the piece that we want to work on. Because to really heal what's happened, it has to be allowed to move.
So she's a couple of days after my last session, inner critic, incessant in my head, constantly having to pull it back and say, look, not now, not now, not now. I haven't been rude, I haven't told it to F off or anything like that. I just want to just keep it, just aware of it and just pull it back. And it's made me feel a lot better than I did before, because now I'm not beating myself up so much. But the great thing is awareness is a wonderful thing. Once you're aware of something, then you can do something about it.
I felt like last time with the inner critic, that was an important recognition for you, and I really appreciated kind of how quickly you got on it. I was curious as to how that's been since then, because I sort of get by the look of your face, I sort of get the impression it's like open Pandora's box in terms of suddenly seeing it everywhere. So I'm curious as to how that's been.
I had a really big realisation this morning that they got it wrong, not me. I wasn't thick. I just couldn't do what they asked, which was read something or write something. Spelling was wrong. So it looked like I couldn't be bothered because I'm intelligent.
Yeah.
They knew that, but I wasn't doing what they asked.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck, if they've got it wrong, that is a massive, massive shift in how I see myself.
Yeah. I think what also happened was at the time of our lives when we're learning who we are and like what is our value and what are we capable of, you learn things about yourself that you believed for decades to be true that you now realize weren't true. And I think what you're saying is your inner critic has weaponized all of that narrative and then used it as ammunition to constantly throw back at you.
Yeah.
And in some ways, a lot of your life has been the attempt of that part of you to prove that they were wrong.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. When I wrote my book, I spoke to the publisher and she said there was a peer of mine who'd had his book done in 6 weeks. And I thought, fuck, I hadn't even started mine, right? So I said to her, I'll get it to you in 2 weeks. And I want the hard copy in my hand in 4 weeks. And she went, that's a big, tall order. She said, how much have you written of the book so far? I went, nothing. And she thought it would be ridiculous. And she laughed at me. And I thought, I'm going to show you. Right? So I wrote it, and then I got it over to her. And I had the physical copy in my hand within the 4-week period as I wanted. And then I found out the guy who did my peer wrote his book in 2 years and had it published in 6 weeks. Right? That's all I had to time myself nuts. But I remember getting it in my hand. I got it in the post. It was a proof copy. I've still got it. And I remember opening it up and tears came to my eyes. And I thought they were fucking wrong.
Yeah.
They were wrong. That's proof.
Yeah. The challenge is having to fight to feel your self-worth.
Yeah.
That place of striving. Driving yourself to write a book in 2 weeks and a day. What does the little boy feel? What would he want to say right now to those people?
He doesn't want to say anything. He just see. That's what he wants to say, see. But he'd like an apology, but he's not going to get that, is he?
What if he says, fuck off, I showed you, but look at the price I paid?
Oh, fucking hell. I could have done so much more when he was younger. But he just realised.
And you struggled a lot to do what you did.
Yeah. Took a lot out of me. Took a lot out of me.
What do you feel right now?
I was sort of relieved in a way because we've recognised the fact that that kid knows it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
It's a relief.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault.
No.
And it's also it's okay that you care.
So this is after day 4, session 4 with Alex, and I'm out walking the dog this morning down by the river, and got me thinking, wow, what a massive shift that was yesterday. Having realised after all these years, it wasn't my fault. I didn't let myself down, they let me down. And once that sunk in, wow, I just realised that things will never be the same again, because it just feels so different this morning, so different. I think it could be one of them days where your life changes. We'll just have to wait and see. Well, we've obviously got another 4 sessions to go. I'm sure we've got some more stuff to dig around at, but I'm feeling really good today, really good.
So just reflecting on Paul's journey so far, I can really feel his energy and his engagement. And I know that he's starting to really see the power of doing therapeutic work. And that's great. And I need to harness that, because where we need to go next is the very place that he has done everything he can to avoid. Effective therapeutic work can't just happen in our mind. It can't just be making new meanings and finding new perspectives. We also have to shift the trauma, the emotion, the energy that's held in our body. And that can be tough. And in a way, Paul and I can talk about this for years to come, or we can do what needs to be done. And I really hope that he's going to come with me on that journey.
So far, we have covered a lot about your sort of early life and your childhood and your upbringing and how you came to be the person you are today. One thing that I guess we haven't touched upon so much, at least yet, is Zoe.
That's going to be a bit of a Pandora's box, in a way. Tragic. She calls me no end of grief for 10 years, and I'm angry at her for that, because
I think part of what's so difficult is that your love for her is also tied up with a lot of other feelings.
I'm a bit concerned about today.
Wondering why I brought you to a beautiful location.
Yeah. I don't know what you want from me. Fucking leave me alone. Fuck off! Why did you do it?
At the heart of this episode was Paul's realization that his childhood trauma is not his fault. And that's true for all of us. And that's why my most recent book has the same title, It's Not Your Fault: Why Childhood Trauma Shapes You and How to Break Free. It's currently available in all the usual places that you buy books, and it goes into a number of the themes in Paul's story in a lot more detail. It's also packed full of practical exercises and worksheets. The book also has a free companion course where you can download the worksheets, and also will signpost you towards some of these themes in other episodes, other participants, as part of In Therapy.